Thank you for joining me. So it's so good to be together once again, and I really do have several things that I want to share with you today. So I'll start out first of all with walking the talk as normal. I particularly don't have a lot of crochet on. This might be a simulated crochet from a machine that my daughter bought me at the store Loft last year when she came, but it's not crocheted by me. My earrings, you'll remember, are the bullion earrings that I had been working on over the past couple of episodes. And what I do have to share with you is not actually mine. One of the things that we did while I've been here in these past couple of weeks, specifically last week when my elder daughter and Clarisabeth came down to visit for Easter, we went to, I think it's called the Baggage Claim Store or something like that. It's a store in Alabama. They told us that it was the only store in the nation that the genuine, let's say, the genuine store in all of the United States. I don't know how true that is. It could be just something they're saying, but that's what they told us. The idea is pretty sad, right? Because it's all these people that travel and lose their baggage on different airlines. This baggage is or is not, may or may not be recompensated by the companies, the different airlines. But anyway, they end up in warehouses and freights, and they're sold to this other company that buys lost baggage. And then the baggage is then revised by different employees of the company to see what is in new condition, what is in better condition, what is in less better condition. And so things are separated into items that they sell at one of their stores and the used items they sell at a bargain store. And those items that they don't feel are up to par to sell, then they are donated to, that's what they told us, they are donated to different agencies. So I still feel it's sad because I think the energy in these items are all about the frustration and the headaches, the anger even that these people went through at losing their baggage, and probably recompensation from the airline didn't really make up for all of that. So, it's kind of like when I go to the zoo. I've got problems with the zoos too, but we went because we just wanted to see what it was all about. And for sure, I thought the interesting part of it was seeing all the things that people take on airplanes. Because there was your standard, obviously, the clothes and the shoes, and I was very surprised by the amount of jewelry. And this is good jewelry, gold jewelry, and fine silver jewelry that people actually put into their checked-in luggage. I do carry all those things, but I usually put them either on me or in my personal item because I just don't want to lose them in the event that my baggage is lost. But maybe some people, their idea originally was to have it as a carry-on, but then it got taken away from them before they got onto the plane for whatever reason, and they were kind of like asked or not given the option of having to check in their luggage. And so I can understand how some of these items make it there, not planned by the traveler. There was actually pieces of art also, huge pieces of art that I was like, how do you even get that onto a plane and then not claim it? I don't know. I don't know what the story is, but one thing that I am sure of is that many of these pieces tell a story. So as I was looking through the jewelry, I saw the piece of jewelry that I am wearing. This, and I'll take it off because it's easy to take off and put back on. This is woven. It is made out of glass seed beads. But those glass seed beads are woven to create a sort of like a base fabric. And then over the base fabric, on the other side, you've got these glass chips. Irregular chips, right? That and are then woven over this base at the back. And then even the clasp is made by weaving a bead and, putting it through the closures. So this just touched my heart. As many of you know, if you've been here for a while, I started out my crafting with jewelry, and I really enjoyed that part of my life. And so it really touched my heart. It's even stretchy. So it could actually stretch to a larger wrist, but it just touched me. This was handmade, and it was priced for $2.99. Now, even if I go to buy the chips, they'll probably be, let me look over here. They will probably be, depending, if they're just glass, they might be anywhere between $3 and $5 a strand themselves. And then the seed beads are inexpensive, that's true. You can get a frasc of probably 1,000 seed beads for maybe a couple of dollars. But even just in between the materials, it was more than $2.99. And then the amount of time it must have taken the person that made it originally. Now, I don't know if the person who lost it was the person that made it, but the person that made it originally had to take a lot of time to make that. And this is not made by machines either. So I had to give it home. I just had to give it a home because I was very touched by the memories that it brought back. So it goes very well with several of my earrings. And I just decided to wear these. And I didn't wear it on Easter. We had gone before Easter to this store, but I didn't wear it because it actually didn't match the outfit that I was going to wear. And so I kind of decided not to. I like to match, what can I say? So that's me walking the talk. Definitely would wear this out today if I were going anywhere, but I'm not. I'm here with you guys, so I'll just show it to you for you to enjoy. Other than that, I can share with you an item that is finished, or several items. Well, not several, but a couple of items that were finished. My first finished item was my grandson's Easter bunny. There are no more pins keeping the pieces together. They've all been sewed together. And it sat there for more than a week, waiting to get eyes and a nose. And the thing about it was that the eyes and the nose are not, I'm not going to say they're not in the right position, but they give the head the look of being like tilted this way. So I guess it gives it character. It just gives the bunny character. It's okay. I decided not to make it had a carrot as part of the pattern. I decided not to make the carrot just because. And as forecasted, as predicted, my grandson had no interest in the bunny. Maybe pulling its ears a little bit, but yeah, it didn't really, he didn't really find it. It didn't really call his attention that much. I guess most of all it's because he's very much into balls, and so we have been trying to get him to more into movements. So he is normally we play with him for a long time during the day at just throwing and catching and kicking a ball. All of those, he does none of them to perfection, but he does know to respond now by throwing the ball back to you in his own way, with his own technique, or hitting it back to you, or even trying while sitting on the floor to kick it. And so that is an improvement in his movements, and he is also standing, and as he tries to stand, he is trying now to kick the ball from a standing position, which is totally, out of his mind, because first learn to walk, then learn to kick. But he's moving at his own pace, and he's just happy with it, and we're happy for him also. So that's my bunny with a crooked nose and with crooked eyes. Now moving on to the second finished item, maybe the item that many people were waiting for me to talk about. If you are on Instagram and you follow me and you watched my feed this week, Easter Sunday, I was able to use the dress that I was making. So it is a finished item this week. Well, it's been finished for a week now. And it is the crochet tank dress that was designed for Michaels, but you can also find, so this pattern, I got it from Michaels for free, but you can also find it on yarnspirations.com. It is a free pattern. Now, there's a funny anecdote for this pattern. Well, let me show you how it finished first. So this is the finished object that I wore last Sunday, and so I completed it with bottom edging and all, and this is the back that came out like this because I added this section. This was included with the pattern, and I added this section because I didn't want it to be as low at the back, and since I used a self-striping yarn, well, I just let the stripes work out themselves. So it did what it wanted to do, is what I mean. So I was using this yarn, Caron Cotton Ripple Cakes. Those are 100% cotton and self-striping. And the thing was that last episode, I was reading from the pattern, and I said I was using Caron Blossom Cake. And when I read that, I was like, Caron Blossom Cake. It didn't really seem, there was something of a ripple in this. But I just went on with what was said here. And I went on describing to you how I made this with that blossom cake. But that I didn't use the blossom cake. I used the ripple cake. And I don't know who I was talking to. It might have been my daughter, Clarissa, when I finally realized that I did not use the yarn described in the pattern. And all the time I thought I was using it. So, or maybe it was when I went to purchase more. When I went to purchase more of the yarn, I think I realized that I couldn't find the color anywhere. Of course, because I was looking for the blossom cake, and in the blossom cake, meadow doesn't exist. So then I had to go back and I look at what I had and say, what is going on here? Well, it was because it was the ripple cake, and that did have a meadow. And so there was a 30% off before Easter from purchases online through Michaels. And so I purchased the yarn that I needed from this. I needed 2 more, but this is the second one, and there's really a lot left because I took out from the yarn initially this ball because I wanted to more or less start at the same place where my other yarn ended. And so they are the same lot, but still they're kind of like wound up in a different order, the colors. So I removed this amount from the beginning. So I still have, I don't know, I don't have a scale here to weigh my yarn, but I'm pretty sure I did not use more than half of that second ball or skein of yarn. So anyway, when I went online for Michael's, you might have noticed that I had on my AirPods before because I had received a call from my husband, forgot I had them on and kept on filming, so I no longer have them. Anyway, when I was ordering from Michael's, I did purchase the Blossom Cake, so you could see the difference between the Blossom Cake and the Ripple Cake that I purchased. This is self-striping. I'm not too sure if this is, it's kind of more got like a fade from one color, from one light color to one very dark color, and then that fading repeats again. It's also a different type of yarn. This is 100% cotton, and it gets its name from because it looks rippled. And if I had any complaint from this yarn, it would be that frequently there are knots, because I guess they had to break the yarn to continue plying it together. And there are some places where the yarn is really thin and some places where the yarn is really thick. And so that might affect what you're making. This one is a blown yarn. I don't know if you remember from other episodes me talking about a blown yarn that Clarissa used for one of her patterns. I believe it was the morning sweater. So this is blown. And so I bought, because of the 30%, I bought enough of this to make, this is the same color that was used in this pattern. I bought enough of it. I seriously was considering making a second dress, maybe changing the top. And then I couldn't resist, and I also bought a third color, because I couldn't decide between which of these two would be more, I would use more. I think the green is like, looks more like something I would use frequently. The blue, not so much, but I really do love this turquoise. So I don't know. I'm going to make something with them because I have 3 balls of each. And that's enough for one of these dresses, I'm pretty sure. Let's see the yardage. This has 491 yards. 491 yards in 240 grams. 491 and 240 grams. And it's a number 3. And this one has, so 481 yards in 227 grams. This one also is 61% cotton and 39% acrylic. So it is not completely a cotton blend. And when you look at the strands, I don't know if you'll be able to perceive it here, but there are lots of bits of little hairs sticking out. So I think when you work it up, it would look a little bit like you had mohair you had worked up mohair with your yarn. And I'm pretty sure that's because of the fact that it is blown. It's a cotton acrylic that is blown, and those might be the little hairs from the acrylic coming out. So, yeah. That's my description of that yarn. But so yeah, now I have 6 skeins in 2 different colors to make up something else. I could make up Elizabeth's morning sweater, I think. This is classified as a number 4 instead of a number 3 as that one is. So yeah, it might work. But anyway, I want to share my dress with you. If you were watching Instagram, you might have seen a small video that I put online in my feed. And for those of you that are not on Instagram, I am going to share a video for you too. Those of you that are on Instagram, well, I hope I'll have your patience while I share a second video that Clarissa took while I was wearing the dress on Easter Sunday. So I hope you liked that. Modifications, I've already stated the way I changed the back and also the straps. I made them wider, and the edgings that I made around it, mostly because I wanted to bring it up underneath the arm and up on the chest. So I did a couple of rounds extra of edging. And I followed the large. So I followed the large for the top because I was not getting gauge. And I didn't want it to be too tight. And then I just continued all the way down in that same size. And I was going to go up to a 4.25, which I probably could have, because I really didn't have to have any worry about the amount of yarn. I would have had enough. I was going to go to a 4.20. I made this in a 4. I was going to go up to a 4.5, which I purchased along with the yarns, just in case, because I thought that maybe I would go up with the blossom cake using a 4.5 to see if I could get gauge that way. And so I had it here, and I just went up for the bottom part. And so basically that's what I did. So I've been working on 2 new projects. One of them is the continuation of the front side of the bag that I have been making with Freeform for the past couple of episodes. And I decided that for the front of the bag, I wanted to make it a bird because I wanted it to be a bag now that would help me remember my frequent trips to Alabama. And the thing I see most around are birds, and it's what calls my attention the most because they're so colorful, because they're always chirping in the backyard, because Lucas loves the birds. And so I was in between one of 2. Somebody stated last week that the bird that I put at the beginning that was flying away was a crane, but I actually looked it up and I found that it's a heron. It's actually called the blue heron. And since I see it very frequently, I wanted to give it a go at using the app that I talked about last week, DaVinci's Eye app, and try and sketch from one of the pictures that I had taken the bird. So here was my initial attempt to sketch it using this app. And although I don't think it's that bad, I thought that it was too thin of a bird to hook up with the yarn that I had available here. Plus, he's mostly like a bluish gray and white, some spots of dark, and maybe some light brown where kind of the feathers are plucked out, maybe because they fight or because they get old. And I don't have any of those colors here. So I decided that I was going to leave this one for a future project. And I did another sketch of what I'm going to call a cardinal. I'm calling it a cardinal. Maybe it's not exactly a cardinal. But then I sketched the cardinal, and alongside here, I've got maybe a sketch of a tree where he is resting. This one I haven't colored in because since I have the photo, I thought I could just go back and forth through the photo to check. And there's nothing much to check. A cardinal is red. But this particular bird, I don't think I'll be able to make him entirely red because I don't have enough of that yarn. So I began with the bird, And as I normally told you, I'm always comparing back to this sketch. I didn't have any black to make this part, so I made it in the darkest color I had, which was that brown. And I haven't made the eye yet. I'm thinking about just embroidering that eye in. And there's a lot to go because I'm doing it in sections. So every one of these is what I'm considering a section. It just makes it easier if I look at it that way. And so this is the top section, obviously. And I can put in a photo, a better photo here, so you can see how well it fits. My peak didn't fit well, and I'm going to blame the yarn because the yarn is between a DK and a worsted, and so it's really hard to get small stitches, and maybe not that hard, but it was for me. So I just decided that I was going to accept it like this. It is pretty flat. It can be ironed to be flatter. But then I was looking at this part here in the middle, and I said, you know what? That kind of looks like the leaf that I made up in Tunisian crochet with the help of a tutorial from YouTube instructor that I was sharing with you last week. So I'm thinking that maybe what I do need to do here is just to make another one of those same leaves in red. And it was on red in the back also, if you remember. And that way I'll have like something that connects the back to the front. And I thought that was a good thing. So that's what I have up to now. I've hidden in my edges and only left these edges in case I need to add some more brown down here, because I'm thinking that this section might have come out a bit too short. So I might go down and add a little bit more here. And just in case I need to continue with the red section, I've left the ends without weaving in. And so my next step would be to make the leaf and see how I can attach it, because that looks a lot like a leaf to me. And then I am going to make the tail. And after the tail is made and the bird is complete, then I'll go on to using Freeform Crochet to make the different sections so it will look like a tree. I don't know if I'm going to crochet this whole tree or just make little patches and kind of like make it look like a tree. Because it's got these sections here are like some moss on the tree. This is moss, so I can add that. And then I'm going to add in a little bit blue here using the same blue that I used on the front so that I can kind of like connect the designs. And so that I'm hoping that I'll be able to work on that in the days to come. Now, there was a change in schedule. I kind of felt like I was wearing out my time here in Alabama, that, you know, maybe my children were just ready to let me go. But my son has 2 conferences that he had to attend for his work. So he asked me if I could extend my stay for a couple more weeks. And so that's what I did. So in extending for a couple of more weeks, I planned 2 projects that I could continue working on. One of them is obviously the bag, and now my bird scene for the front. And the second one is my entry for the Celebrations Cowl that Elizabeth is running on the Crochet Cakes channel. So the Celebrations Cowl is already started running on March the 12th. That was Elizabeth's birthday. And it's going to go up to the 1st of May. So there's a couple of weeks in it. I chose, as I mentioned the last time, one of Elizabeth's patterns. Well, the idea of the cowl is for you to celebrate along with Elizabeth. So one of the rules is that the pattern that you choose to include in the cowl should be one of Elizabeth's patterns. So I chose a pattern that she made for Premier Yarns, and it is published for free on their site. And that one she sold to them, so she's not ever going to get the rights back. It's the Crochet Hooded Pullover by Premier Yarns. And as I said, you can download it for free. And it was designed using this yarn from Premier Yarns. It was Premier Anti-Pilling, Everyday Worsted, and I chose the colorway linen, which was the color that Clarissa worked it up in. Not so much because I wanted to work it up in the same color that she worked it up is. I had a couple of requisites. I wanted it to be a neutral color. I wanted it to be, I guess that's it. I wanted it to be a neutral color. And the colors that they had available on the site where I purchased this from Annie's Craft, who were selling the yarn with a discount. And so I decided to buy it from them. And the colors that they had available, they had two neutrals, I would call them, which was this linen color and maybe like a camel color. And so I preferred the lighter color to the darker color. Browns don't normally look good on me. And I don't know if this one will look good on me either, but, well, see, this color looks okay. And so this is just like kind of like darker than this one. It has a tendency to look, Clarissa saw that it looked a little bit purple, a little like purple undertones. So maybe like a mushroom color, but I don't see that. To me, it just looks, yeah, maybe you can see, I can see like a little rosy color. Maybe that's what she calls purple. So, but I like the color. So I am making the crochet hooded pullover. If I haven't done so already, I'll include here the photo that's on the first page of the pattern. And I'll show you what I've done. Up to now, I have completed the front panel. And I'm working this up in the large size because I couldn't get gauge. So I figure it's a pullover. It's okay if it's too big. But this is the front. Yeah, this is the front. And then I have already started the back. See how it's got like this cable design on the side? It's got them on both the front and the back. And then this worked up pretty quick. The front worked up pretty quick, so I'm hoping this one will too. It's just that honestly, I haven't worked on it for a while because I got entertained with Da Vinci's Eye, the sketching and the crocheting of this freeform bird. So it hasn't gotten a lot of love. This is just one day. And so also Miss Maisel is back on, and so yeah, I kind of like had to watch that. They put up 3 new episodes of Endeavor also onto Prime, which is a show that I like crime shows, police crime shows, when they're not too real or bloody, and especially when they are from like BBC or PBS, but they're like filmed. This film is supposed to be made in Britain, in Great Britain or England, Scotland, that area where most of the time the police don't have guns, so there's not a lot of ugly killing going on. So yeah, I like that, and I've been watching shows at night, so I haven't had a lot of time to work on this because I get sleepy. I get really tired during the day after working with what I consider a workout with my grandson. So I usually go to bed early, and I don't watch a lot of TV lately. So that's what I have done. I'm hoping to get most of it done during this week because, like I say, it doesn't. I mean, I hope to get the back panel made this week. Let's be realistic, because usually sleeves take a lot of time. It's called Sleeve Island for some reason. And then the hood will probably take a bit of time too. And it's just around and round and round and back and forth. So it kind of gets it could get a little bit boring at some point. I will tell you one thing that I did. You see, I was getting these big holes in the cables, and on the cables of my dress, it has 3 cables at the front. I also got those big holes. And then I looked up how to avoid that. And so now I'm avoiding those big holes. It only has 1 cable. So I'm avoiding them by doing a half double crochet 2 together with the stitch that's before the cable stitch and the top stitch that is formed when you do the double crochet in the front loop only. So I do stitch those 2 together, and then I do the double crochet front post stitch, and then I use that stitch that forms at the top with the next stitch after to make a half double extended crochet, which is what Elizabeth used for this pattern, and it covers up the hole very nicely. It covers up the hole. Down here, I didn't do that. I look at the holes I get, and up here I did, and the hole is much smaller. So if you're ever working with cables, that is one way to kind of decrease the hole around the cable by crocheting in 2 stitches. Okay, so hope I explained that one clearly enough. So anyway, that's what I've been working on this week. And I was hoping to get this done while it's still cool enough here. Every once in a while, the mornings are really cool, so I have to have an extra sweater on in the morning. Today it's exceptionally warm, so I can walk around without a sweater on, and I'm okay. So I don't know. I'm hoping to finish this before I go back to Puerto Rico so I can actually wear it, and that way I won't have to carry it. If not, I'll have to send it back in a package and finish it over there, because I do have a bit of extra yarn to take back with me. So here at the end, I'll share a bit of footage of the Easter hunt that we had here at the house, and so that you can see the fun everybody was having, and a little bit of how my grandson is progressing with walking on his own and all that. And I will leave it at that. I thank you for joining me today. I hope that you have been able to have a peaceful week. I hope you had a nice weekend, Easter weekend, if you celebrate that, and that you have been having some nice, peaceful, productive craft time during the last couple of weeks. And I hope that you will continue to have that during the weeks to come. I'll be here for 2 weeks more. Still not sure if I will get a podcast out before I leave. Maybe, maybe not. But I'll keep in touch with you anyway. And I'll let you know whether you can or cannot expect that podcast to be up on the 30th. So take care of yourselves until we meet again. Keep yourself safe. Keep yourself healthy. And keep crafting. Bye for now.